Hello, guys. Good to be back. I'm Happy New Year, 2025 now. So as is tradition, we'll be watching 2024 in review. Um, it's been quite a year. I know I've been away for a while, but it's nice to get back into the swing of things. So let's see what's going on this this year. Um, so today's video is 2024 from A to Z.
Sheer panic as a piece of the plane went missing.
Okay, let's kick things off with A is for Alaska Airlines. Boeing kicked off 2024 with an exit door being blown out mid-flight.
Yep. It was a trip from hell.
They're eating the dogs.
B is for brace yourself.
I didn't know she was black.
Donald Trump was all over the news in 2024. As he returns to the White House, get ready for even more.
To me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff.
Les barrières
Moving on.
ici étaient déjà fermées.
C is for cattle caper. One of these stranger stories I covered this year.
Ils ont fait le tour comme ça.
Quebec farmer had his entire herd, 73 cows, stolen.
What? Oh wait, hold on. I heard nothing about that. What? That's like some alien abduct. Speaking of alien abduction, I don't know what year or what month you'll be watching this video. Is New Jersey still dealing with the drones?
D is for pop diva. Canada's return to public life.
It's like somebody's strangling you.
Celine Dion is still
Celine
battling
Dion,
stiff person
the
syndrome, but
goats.
knocked it out of the park at the Paris Olympics. Now, E is for eclipse. A certain cameraman I know dismissed the story for weeks and then called it one of the greatest things he'd ever seen.
Mr. Assange, any comment?
F is for founder. Julian Assange, who
I did see the eclipse. It was cool.
created WikiLeaks, pleaded guilty to espionage charges and was sentenced to time served. He's now living in Australia. G is for Gulag. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in a prison camp in February. He knew what could happen when he went home, but believed to fight for Russia, he had to be in Russia.
Even from prison, he was the strongest opponent of Vladimir Putin.
Now, H is for hail.
Look at this.
The storm that hit Calgary in August caused about $2.8 billion in damage. It's the second most expensive natural disaster in Canadian history.
Oh my goodness. I completely missed all of this.
I is for inundated or flooded. There were multiple major rainstorms in Quebec and across the country this year. Storms aren't what they used to be.
Global warming is real. It's happening. We just experienced it.
J is for Jasper, Alberta. A fire in July destroyed about a third of the buildings and homes in the community, one of the special jewels in this country. K is for Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, a place where the Taliban has now banned women from schools, sports, and even parks. Yeah, parks. L is for labor strife. Canada Post walked off the job, as did rail workers and dock workers. If you were in shipping, it was a rough year.
We have no.
Yeah, this labor strife thing literally like spanned not just Canada. It's happened even in here in the US. People, well, I guess it was labor strike because even just over the Christmas, Amazon workers were on strike.
No work, no money for what we're gonna do.
If I weren't such a gentleman.
M is for Brian Mulroney. The former prime minister passed away in February and was remembered in a moving ceremony in March, one that he himself closed.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when.
This is the most complex, highest performance computer the world's ever made.
N is for NVIDIA.
1 second, phone calls coming in. Okay, edit that part out.
AI is exploding and runs on computer chips. Well, no company makes more of them than the one with the strange name, and for a while, no company in the world was worth more.
It's a jaw-dropper, historical.
O is for over-tourism. Some top destinations had backlashes against tourists.
Too much tourists. It's horrible.
Now, P is for Gisèle Pellicot. It certainly didn't start as an inspirational story, but the woman in the middle of a mass rape case in France has shown a strength and a courage that defies belief. Well, Q is for quagmire. I seem to put Haiti on this list each year, hoping things improve. They don't. R is for resolution for Gaza. Again, this one's about hope as well, for a ceasefire and hostage deal. For S, we go with Syria. During its civil war, millions were displaced and more than 500,000 people were killed.
This has been quite the year. This has been quite the year. The wars in Syria, Palestine and Israel, Gaza, Afghanistan, going through it. Even African in Nigeria, they're going through it. It's not like an all-out war, but the situation is getting like so desperate. Like it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, and even Mother Nature has been has been on our case this year, man.
Hoping for better days ahead for that country.
How long you lived here?
Today.
2.5 years, almost.
T is for temporary, which is how tents are supposed to be used. They shouldn't be anyone's solution to being homeless, but in big cities and now even in small towns across this country, they're all some people have. We have to do better.
We are not moving until we're housed.
U is for under control, as in spending. $51 million a year for Juan Soto totally makes sense. Sure.
Toronto, we are so bad.
V is for...
Is it the juxtaposition? Like, it's kind of jarring when you see it when you see it in one video. So it goes from war, storms, natural disaster, war, politics, war, and then there's homeless people living in tents during the winter. People have been displaced in their homes. Like, people complaining about working all the time but still having no money and having no job sometimes, and the desperate situation. And then it switches over to a baseball player getting like $51 million, he said. $51 million. And then there's like this concert. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I'm terrible with celebrities. I'm recognizing celebrities. But it's like, oh, this is like super glamorous. It's just jarring to see it in like this in one timeline, everything happening like that. I'm not gonna go on too much of a tangent, but that is like also the norm in like big cities. It's like the fancier the city, the more terrible the slums in the city is. Like, there's a nice city, skyscrapers, wonderful bridges, and then under the bridges is like homeless people. It's everywhere like that. Even I'm speaking like what I've seen in Nigeria and what I've seen here in the US.
Voices, Taylor Swift wrapped up her Eras tour. The Rolling Stones kicked off their 17th world tour.
Today is gonna be...
And Oasis announced a reunion tour. Hope they can get along. W is for What Were They Thinking, as in Canada's national women's soccer team and its drone scandal.
Jeremy Hansen.
Wait, I didn't know they had the drone scandal. Interesting.
X is for Extreme Patience, something Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen will need, with NASA announcing in December it's delaying its moon mission. Y is for Yes, I Missed a Bunch of Stuff, like astronauts stuck in space, the Baltimore Bridge collapse, Caitlin Clark.
She's simply ridiculous.
McDavid really, really tries, and Notre Dame de Paris reopens. And finally, Z is for zero, like to zero in. Let's wrap up by focusing on some of the very special people out there, and I got to tell some of their stories this year.
We are loaded up.
People like April Huggett, a Canadian helping soldiers and civilians near the front lines in Ukraine, dodging danger, as tough as it gets.
Yeah, I would also like to like give a shout out to people who actually do this thing, because I'm here in the comfort of my home talking about it, but people are actually going out there to help people in Ukraine, and I think it's I think it's incredible. I was driving earlier today, and then on the radio they were like Christian missionaries that were sending out aid and like ministers over to Ukraine and like helping out there and everything. And it's like, wow, that's really dedicated to the cause.
If the rocket is made for you, it will find you.
Or Eddie Nolan, who ran every Terry Fox marathon for more than 40 years before cancer took him in April. As dedicated as they get. There are some tough stories out there, but as was the case with Terry Fox himself, it can be wonderful to focus on the people in the middle of them. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Hopefully this year comes home with like better tidings than the past year. It did start off rough though. Like on the very new year, the very first day, January 1st, in New Orleans, I believe there was somebody who drove a car through like a parade of people celebrating the new year. Killed more than 10 people died, and then right after that, in New York, like Marine Green Beret, like special forces, um man drove a cyber truck to the Trump Tower and blew it up with fireworks. And the story is still unfolding, but it's turning into like a Metal Gear Solid kind of like narrative. So this year is off to an interesting start, but as always, I keep it. I'm optimistic and hoping for the best. So happy New Year, guys! Good to be back.
Check this out. I'm gonna.
Yeah, deuces.